Hello, I'm the art teacher, and today I plan on showing you how I am teaching my 4th grade students how to do some artwork, some bubbles. Let me show you a picture of what I'm talking about. Some three-dimensional bubbles, looks like bubbles that are floating. These are really two big ones. And here's another picture here. This is on a square. This picture here is 8 by 10. No, see, it's 8.5 by 11. And as always, showing you how I'm using the elements of art. I'm using shapes. I'm using some lines and some color. And I'm actually using some value. Value is the lightness and the darkness of a color. And you can see how some colors are darker on the edge and then they get lighter. So I'm using a lot of value in these bubbles to make them stand out. And trying to create form, trying to make them look more rounded, more solid as a form, a three-dimensional shape with height, width, and depth. So we're getting a little bit of that in there. Not so much on the texture, and there is some space involved, the positive and negative space. So really, I'm using a lot of the elements of art. And what am I creating? I'm going to create one of the principles of design. Well, here you can see there's a certain balance to this picture where one side is equally weighted to the other side. A big bubble on this side is balanced by a medium and a smaller bubble on this side. So I'm kind of creating a balance, but there's also contrast between the light and the dark. You can also say there's emphasis, a part that really is like the focal part. You really zoom in on the brightness there. Not so much on the movement, pattern, rhythm, or the unity part. So we'll take it for what it is, and I'm going to show my students how to do this, play around with it. I've made plenty of mistakes, so don't worry about mistakes, just worry about having fun. First, you need a piece of black construction paper, easy to get, and I'm using Crayola watercolor. Now I say Crayola because I also have prism color. These prism colors work really well, except they're more expensive. If you can get those, that would be great. But the Crayola watercolor pencils, they're a little better than just the Crayola color pencils. So I'm using the watercolor pencils. And you need a lid, plastic lid or a cup or a small plate, whichever you have that's just circular. I'm going to put one right down here. And then you use the white color pencil, and you just trace around it carefully. Some of you might need practice in doing this. Now if you mess up on a paper like this, don't throw it away. You can make smaller ones and use this as a practice paper. So there's my bubble. Now I am going to be zooming in closer so you can actually see some of the things I'm going to be doing here. Let's get a little closer. Closer, closer, closer. Ah, too close. Get back, 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 back. There we go. That's better. All right. So now I can get something that is a smaller circle that you can put around here and do a smaller circle on the inside, or you can do like I would do, and that is just imagine there's a circle here. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to start off with making a rectangle that's been bent. Slowly matching this side up here. It's like a rectangle that's been bent. I think you guys can see that. I'm curving it. And whenever I'm drawing, I'm always going to draw on this side of my bubble, so I'll be turning my picture around because my hand naturally curves this way. So once I draw this, I'm going to really color in solid. Really nice solid white, and then I'm going to get softer. This is where the value comes into play. I'm going to get darker to lighter with my white. And then on the top part, I'm going to do the same thing. except this is going to be more like a skinnier version. Trying to make it the same. You see how it fades out? So do that. Now I'm going to turn this whole thing around, and I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. And I'll start off with the smaller one first, following that curve, and then getting it lighter, and then doing another one that's a little bit bigger. Again, follow that curve. You really need to go that curve because that curve is what makes the bubble look round. You get really nice and white there, and then you slowly fade it. Fade it that way. Okay, now we're going to get into some colors. Here is where you can just go crazy. Choose whatever color you want. I picked the first color I got here is yellow. And here's the really, really big secret. Always start soft, very light, because you can always get it darker. Okay, and I am going to go making sure I go around the curve. And here I'm going to blend it into the white. Always go to the curve. And you're really experimenting here. Don't think that this is a formula that you have to do it exactly my way. You actually just play around with it. And remember, go light because you can always go darker. Okay, I'm going to put that down. I'm going to go with another color, maybe red. This is like a red-orange. And you want to go with bright colors because the bright colors are obviously going to stand out a lot more. And don't forget that you can blend, blend. Mix colors together. See, and go back over this way. And let me get with a little blue, a light blue. That's always good. There we go. And maybe a little light blue here. Not bad. Do a little light blue there. And maybe a little light blue here. Remember, curve. Come back on this side. I'm going to choose some different colors. This one here, blend it in. Curve. And switch to another color. How about orange? I'm doing this really kind of fast because of the time limit I have on my YouTube. I actually don't know how long these YouTubes are supposed to be, but I'm just going to kind of hurry up here. And let's go a little bit red here. Remember, curve. And then, once you get the outside done a little bit, you can do a little bit on the inside. Go a little bit further in. You can even use the side of your color pencil to kind of do it this way. Kind of do a little rubbing maybe. And let me get to another color here. As you can tell, I'm using lots of different colors. And remember, you can experiment, play around, come up with different ones. I'm going back to my white one now, and now I'm going to go over here to this side, and I'm going to put a small dot, a medium dot, and a bigger dot. And I can even do a curved white line right there. I'm going to go into this side, and I'm only going to do 2 dots. I think I don't want to be too even there, so I'm just going to do a small, a medium, and another white line right there. Now let's see how this looks from a distance. And when you look at it from a distance, you can add more or less. Well, you really can't add less. You can try to get rid of some stuff. Now, there's one last thing I like doing. Excuse me, is I have this stump, and there's another name for it, but it's just a piece of a paper that's been rolled up, and you can use this to blend your colors by doing this. by just rubbing it like this, you can make the colors smoother edges. And let's say you get some colors that you did too much, you think. If you think you did too much, then what you need to do is you just get a black color pencil and you can blacken some of it in. Now that's not erasing it, you're just covering it back up. So if you did something that's too bright and you need to darken it up, that's all you have to do, is darken it up that way. And there you have a bubble. Really just have fun with it, and there's so many different ways, so many different things you can look up online, on YouTube it. There's so many different ways, and there's a lot of neat things you can do with it. You can put little sparkles in it, highlights like a little starburst, or things of that nature. Anyway, that's how you do a bubble. Okay. And you can have so much fun just playing around. And remember, if you make a mistake on one paper, don't throw it away. You can practice on all these other spots here until you get the hang of it. Then you can either turn the paper over, do it on this side, or get a new paper. Don't forget to mount it. Like with this one, I cut this smaller. I cut the white paper a little, a ½ inch bigger, and then this paper, the black paper, another ½ inch bigger. Takes 3 pieces of paper to do this. Looks pretty nice. You can even get a wider border if you want. So there you have it. And I hope you guys have lots of fun playing with this. And I will see you next time.